Welcome back to Adversary to Ally.
It's time we talked about domestic violence and how it's affecting our lives. The cost is much too high. Let's stop it from destroying our lives. Adversary to ally. Adversary to ally.
How many mothers would cry? How many children would die?
Come on, eat the golden quick. But you got to do more than talk. You got to listen.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again this week. For those of you who are new to the show, this is the podcast where men are united against domestic violence and child abuse and are speaking out to hopefully find solutions or at least gain an understanding as to why so many women and children are dying violently at the hands of men. This is a very important conversation. Let's get to our next guest, who hails from South Carolina.
So my name is Joseph Woodberry. I really don't mind being here on the podcast today. Domestic violence is something that, like I said, I've seen it firsthand. I know family members, friends, that's been through it. Some people, some of my friends, they actually made it through it, and they're living great lives. Like they share their stories with everybody. But then some of them, like they still kind of go through it. They try to hide it, I guess, or try to make it seem like they're okay. But we all know, like that it still goes on inside their household. So that's why I'm here today, man. Just to talk about both sides, maybe to just shed a little light on it. Maybe it can reach somebody, touch somebody, and hopefully they can come on and maybe share some of the experiences that they've had with it as well too.
And I think that's the best that we can the best that can happen here is getting people on to share their stories. We have set it on men because there is nothing for men. There's no programs, it seems, for men to talk about this, talk about their feelings about it. And quite frankly, it's a reflection on all men. And particularly here in the Black community, where when one Black man does something, it casts a pall over the rest of all Black men. So my question to you is, you said you see these people going through this and you kind of see the outcomes. Some do okay. Some are still stuck. What do you see in those people that are still stuck? And are we referring to the victim or the perpetrator?
The victims, yes.
The victim.
Just to be transparent, when you go to like a family function, you notice that particular family member never really shows, or that friend never really shows. And it's probably because maybe they have a blackened eye, maybe, they have bruises, visible bruises that other people will see if you come to a family function. And you call them, hey, I thought you was gonna come today, and it's always some kind of excuse as to why, like it's family, but then you see them a week later, and you see like bruises, you see them like just not happy, crying all the time. They're called to vent, like, hey, like I just really need to tell you what's going on, and I think to myself sometimes, I'm like, wow, like you've been dealing with this person so long, like, and I'm the kind of person, I'm a big guy, I'm tall, I'm heavy, I'm a strong guy. And so a lot of my family members, they lean on me, or they'll reach out to me whenever they have a problem. And I guess like I'm a great listener too. They tell me things, hey, this is bothering me, this bothering me. How can I do this? How can I leave? How can I, without getting hurt, or without being stalked, or without being, out of fear for their own children that they have with these guys. And, to be honest, I never truly know what to say, because I'm like, let me come get you. Like, I'll come over there, or let's call somebody else, and we can come over there and just get you from the situation. The problem is we've taken those steps before, and they always run back. And that's the thing, like it makes it hard for me or anybody else to want to help or to try to help when you know like ultimately they'll end up running right back like to that same situation.
And you talk to psychiatrists, social workers, and so forth because, I'm one of those people. I grew up in a domestic violence situation, and
Hmm.
50 years ago was different. Yeah, 60 years
Hmm.
ago, in my case, it was different. There really was no help, very, very little help. It was, if we think it's a man's world now, 50 years
Yeah,
ago, they were just, men
correct.
just ruled everything. But
Yeah,
it's
I
a
can't
little
even
different
imagine.
now. It's a little different now. Women do have resources and so forth. They can get help. But you're right,
Yes.
many go back. Why do you think that is? When you consider the
Um,
fact that they know the man is violent and they have children.
yes. And a lot of the ones I think the ones that have the children with the guys, like they run back because for the kids, like because the kids, especially when they're young, like maybe under the age of like 8, 7, 8 years old, all they know is that's daddy. Like they don't really do the they don't do the abuse in front of the kids. You know what I mean? Like because they don't want their kids looking at them like, oh God, daddy's a monster. You know what I mean? So they do it in private, like when they put the kids to bed, or maybe when the kids are at school or something like that. And I think personally they go back because like they want to show this image or this, I guess, facade of that, like their family is a happy family,
Mhm.
um when they have to go register kids to school, like when both parents are there, they have to, like I said, put on a facade that, hey, like we're a good family, we're here to register our kids and stuff like that. But in reality, like when they're in purgatory every
Right.
single day when they go home, and um to me that's sad, man. Like it's hard for me to witness, abuse from afar, and knowing that you're kind of helpless, because even when you have helped them before, help them get away from the situation, it's all in here. It's all for them. Like, like they have to choose in their hearts and their minds, like, hey, I'm done with the situation. But sometimes, you can try to help as much as you can, and they still run back. And that's why I always get lost. I'm like, wow, like what else can we do? And that just tells me it has to be on them. They have to choose to leave the situation.
Do you think for those women who continue to go back or are hesitant to go back and feel they have no choice, do you think there are more things that we can do? I know that I think Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken, the governor is pushing for 16 million, $18 million to combat domestic violence
Wow.
in the state, but he's pushing millions of dollars to provide different services and so forth.
Yes.
But I don't care how much money you throw at it. Like you said, until you get it here that it's over and you just don't return, it
Hmm.
nothing is going to work. But we do have those women who sincerely try to get away, and
Correct.
they're stalked,
Correct.
they're
Yep.
harassed. In this
Hmm.
day of technology, you know, um, right down to the Apple, what is it, the Air tags that can
Hmm. They
follow
can track
somebody or
you. Yep.
track somebody. So it
Hmm.
really is a very difficult thing. Um, do you think we do enough, or do you have any suggestions on what more we can do to help?
Um, if I was gonna make a suggestion, like I guess I would say like a community. Let's start first. Like I said, families first. Family, they come together. Hey, we need to help. We need to get her away from this guy or whatever. And you can try to, like call the cops and stuff like that. But I feel like all it's gonna do is make it harder for her. You know what I mean? Or whoever it is going through domestic violence. Like I think that um support is really all they really need, and you have to assure them like, hey, if you leave this guy, you can still live a healthy life, you can still live a great life. Like, and I feel like a lot of them, they stay, or they're so apprehensive, to leave because like they feel like what like I'm damaged goods, like I have 2 kids with this guy, 3 kids with this guy, who's going to want me, and
And three
like
kids.
exactly. And And that's that, like I said, it's sad, but at the same time, it's all about like healing. They have to heal from it. Like, and we as people, as family, as friends, have to be there to aid them. Even when we get frustrated, I'm like, hey, like we've helped so much, and we've dedicated so much time to try to get them away from the situation. Like, we just have to step away, and just let them just figure it out on their own. And that's where we fall. That's the mistake that we make, because if they feel like we're giving up on them, then of course they'll just stay, because like it's like a cycle, right? Like they'll, you know, grab you, choke you, hit you, push you, whatever. Oh baby, I'm sorry, that'll never
Here
happen
comes the
again.
flowers and candy, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they'll do it, and then they're like, okay. And it's like they say it hasn't happened in a month. It hasn't happened. Like, what? So you're preparing, like mentally, like they're counting the days and the months or the weeks or whatever, like since the last incident happened. And it's, nobody should be in a relationship with anybody, where they have to live like that. Is how I believe. But if I would, if I were to suggest anything, man, like just don't give up on people, because I see it all the time. Us being like Black people, like we have the easiest way I know to put it, we have like we don't have long patience, meaning we're not patient with people long enough until they can find a way to figure out the problem, and try to find some kind of resolve, and get away from that person. We'll be like, all right, I done helped this person. Like, I done been here 2 weeks, I done been here 3 weeks, I done helped this person a month, I done let them stay at my house. And then they, like I said, they give up, and when you give up, like they give up too. If you're giving up on them, they're giving up on the belief that they can leave that situation for better.
I like to remind people that Adversary to Ally is a joint partnership between Real Talk, Real People and Karina Martin of Mothers of Victims Equality. It is our hope that by talking about this, or I should say getting men to talk about this, that we can hopefully find solutions to stop the madness of domestic violence and child abuse. Now, let's get back to Joseph. A lot of people, say, well, he was drunk, or, whatever the case is. You have two people, man and a woman, and for some odd
Hmm.
reason, whatever's happening between them, whether it's domestic violence and so forth and so on, it's between two adults.
Correct.
What bothers, well, all of it bothers me, but how does a man beat his kids, abuse his kids, murder his kids, and some of this in just unbelievable ways, setting them on fire, throwing them off bridges,
Hmm.
drowning them. Where does that kind of anger come from, where you can do this to your child? Where do you think that comes from?
To be honest, man, maybe it's gonna sound so cliche, but the pressures of being a man. You know, I know what it. I have a young son, and I do pretty good for myself. And but before that, I can remember working multiple jobs, and just, you know, it's like you kind of forced to be the breadwinner, of the household. Like it's precious. Every day is pressure. Like somebody told me something. They said, when it comes to men, men are only loved for like what they can provide. Women and kids, like you see kids, oh, he's so cute. Like everybody love kids.
Right.
Women, like, oh, she's so beautiful. She's this, she that. Like women are loved, like no matter what. Like, but with guys, if you don't have money, if you're not successful in life or anything, people look down on you. And that takes a toll on a lot of people. Now, as far as taking it out on their kids
Or your wife, or your
or your wife,
spouse.
yeah, yeah, like that's tough, man. Like I really don't know, like because when I come home to my kids, that's my peace. Like I yesterday I had a not so great day at work yesterday, but I came home, sat with my aunt, and we had a great conversation. I got to talk to my son for a little bit and be around my family, and it brought me back, and have, I had a great day. But see, other guys, if he had a bad day at work, he gets home, the kids might be loud. Y'all be quiet, and he loses his cool, man. He'll take it out on the kids, take it out on his wife, like maybe they have an argument about something and he just snap and loses it. Like as far as like drowning kids or killing them and all kind of stuff like that, I really don't know, man. Like how dark, how deep of a kind of darkness that you have to go down to, to like really like take the life of somebody you made, you created this child, or if it's your wife, somebody who you love, you took vows with. Like how can you get that dark, man, and just like black out and just like because that's what they all say, like I just blacked out. I
I
don't know,
just blacked
like
out. Right.
yeah, and I mean I don't know, man, like 'cause it's never happened to me before.
Yeah, me
But
either. I've been very angry. I've been very angry,
yeah,
but not to the point where I'm going to actually kill somebody. I
exactly,
just find that
exactly,
that's just an excuse. I
yeah,
was mad, or or whatever. We all get mad, and I mean, I'm
hmm,
sure we all get boiling mad to the point where we do want to hurt or harm the person that is causing us this grief. But
yes,
99% of us don't do that. We recognize the situation for whatever it is. We walk away with cool heads. Do you think that, first of all, I want to go back to your argument about pressure. And I'm totally against that argument. I should tell you right now. That's what the
okay,
judge told
okay,
my mother. And this goes back again 55, 60 years. That one of the reasons why my father was beating the hell out of her and us
hmm,
was the pressure of putting food on the table. Well,
yeah,
okay. Well, if you can't feed a number of kids, stop having kids. All right, that'll
correct,
take
correct,
some of that pressure off you. But even today, I just don't, I just won't accept that excuse that it's the pressure.
exactly,
It is a lot of pressure, man, and you are right. There's a lot of pressure on men to provide, and if you are not a good provider, you're really kind of looked down on, or you're second rate, or whatever. But still, the idea that that would cause you to beat your woman, beat your kids, and in some cases really badly, is just unacceptable. So
exactly.
do you think better mental health services would help? And I'm even hesitant with that because guys don't seek out um,
Exactly.
and help, and
Exactly. See?
and
Yeah.
that's what would help them if they had a place that they can go to, say when they got mad.
Hmm.
If they just had that split second to walk out that door and try to seek help somewhere, or go somewhere where they can talk about it and not be judged, because that's another
Exactly.
thing. You
That's the
know,
biggest thing.
that's the biggest thing, to be able to go somewhere and talk about it and not be judged for what you're feeling. And I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that kind of thing would help if they knew they had some place to go at that moment where they could go or make a phone call and have someone calm them down? Do you think that would help?
Yes. Like if it was truly a place where it was like a judgment-free zone and it's other people like just like him, like in a room sharing their experiences, or maybe if they're talking to somebody on the phone and they're like, hey, listen, like you don't have to worry about anything. Whatever you say to me is gonna be between us. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to judge. You know, like you have to break down that barrier that a guy has up. You know what I mean? Like especially when he has so much, that built up in him, and he kind of wants to share, but he don't want to share maybe to his wife or other family and stuff like that because he don't want to be seen as soft. He don't want to be seen as a weak man. For like talking about his feelings, and all these emotions that he got in him that maybe if he did share, maybe it would help him to learn to like, hey, I don't have to handle everything with violence, or if somebody say some kind of slick remark to me, I don't have to, like
Retaliate.
rage out. Exactly. So the thing for me, friends are good, man. Like you got to have like real friends, to talk to, or even, I suggest strangers, and if you're in a room around people you don't know and you see them like kind of just like talking about experiences, you thinking, oh wow, I acted that same way too. wow, that's crazy. Like this dude going through the same thing I've been through, you know, like, and then when it comes your turn, and you know, like you're like, hey, well, my name is so and so, and I have a problem with my anger. You know, I've hurt people in the past. You know, I've taken my anger out on my kids. You know, like get a man to open up and explain some of his wrongdoings without him having fear of like, oh wow, they're gonna judge me. Oh wow, they're gonna call the cops on me or whatever. You know, get him to open up, get him to share a little bit, and have people there really wanting to help him. You know, like control that anger and control all those negative thoughts, all those, you know, this, I guess, like built up, uh, I don't know, like
Angst.
what do you even call it?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
built
man.
up angst, man. Just you know, angry at the world and angry, and a lot of that has to do with your own insecurities and what's
Yes.
going on
Yep.
in your own life. And I'm not so sure that those are things that outsiders can help with. Those are things that you have to come to terms with on your own. But I
Correct.
do think groups such as that have like a, for lack of a better example, an AA group where
Mm-hmm.
men can come and let out their feelings, talk about what they did. Because like when you talk to alcoholics, they're ashamed and they're ashamed
Exactly.
of their
Yep.
behavior when they're drunk.
Yep.
So maybe that's what we need, more of that, where people can come and talk about their feelings without fear of reprisal, because that is important. Because if you're talking to somebody, they say, yeah, I beat the crap out of her, this, and that's your first thought is, you know, negative toward this person.
Yep.
But maybe
Yep.
if we can find out why, let him talk, find out why he did this, maybe we can, I don't know, maybe we can reverse this behavior, because we certainly have to do something. Joseph, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and talk to us. Is there anything that I have not asked and you want to get out? Is there anything that you want to say that I have not broached in question?
Nah, like we've talked about everything, and I appreciate you, you know, for just, you know, having me on here. One question I do want to ask you though, if you know someone that's being abused, you know, like how would you take the steps to help that person out? Like how would you just um you know, because I know some guys, man, like they some guys actually go through it, you know what I mean? And it's not really like a physical thing. It's more like a control thing, you know, like their spouses don't want them around certain women. Their spouse don't really want them to hang out with certain friends, you know, like and it takes a toll on these guys, you know, and they don't really want to leave, and you know, they complain to me all about it all the time. I'm like, wow, like, geez, like, yeah, like this
Well,
doesn't happen.
you know what that is, man. They're in an unhealthy relationship. I mean,
Correct.
one of the big things with domestic violence, I know, is control, to control your
Hmm.
partner and so forth. And
Exactly.
that happens both. That happens
Both
both
ways.
ways.
Yep.
And it's not healthy for you to tell me as your partner, I don't like them and I don't want you to hang around them.
Correct.
We're two adults. They're
Yes.
two adults, and I think that insecurity, because that's what you're displaying, is just insecurity. You
Yes.
think that they're laughing a little bit too much with this particular woman or this particular guy.
Hmm.
They're laughing too much. They're having too much fun.
Hmm.
It's just unhealthy. But I think the only thing you could do, short of getting the authorities involved when if should you hear them being beaten or something, is just to be there to talk to. You know,
Correct.
most people, in particular children of domestic violence, they really just want somebody to talk to. And I think
Yes.
that that is critical, that you're just there to lend a shoulder. But I think
Hmm.
until we get a handle on why and allow men to come forward, open up, talk about their feelings, share their feelings without fear of reprisal or feeling less masculine, because that's really the big thing, feeling less masculine,
Exactly.
less, less of a man and so forth. And maybe that has to do with the way we raise children. We raise
Correct.
boys to be aggressive. We raise them to take charge. And
Hmm.
when you are not built that way, when your DNA and makeup is not that way, then people tend to look a little tend to look at you as weak, as
Exactly.
opposed to just I don't fight, and that's really the stronger person. So I think that is the way that I would handle it. I've never really had to handle a situation that is domestic violence related, but I know that I
Hmm.
would not allow any man to beat a woman in my presence.
And
I'm
my
not
exact,
saying that I would
I've
jump
always
in or
said that.
whatever, but I would contact authorities immediately, because that
Hmm.
is just not something that it goes deep within me because of my childhood. There's certain
Yes.
things that I can't stand to see kids hurt.
Yeah.
I can ride on the bus and I can actually sit there and pick out a kid who is being abused just by the
Hmm.
way he or she sits and the way they look, their shoulders and so forth. So,
You can
you know,
tell, like, sometimes, like, if you watch a kid or you watch a woman, sometimes when they're very jumpy, like, you can be moving your arm to grab something and they jump and flinch, and I'm like, whoa, like, what's going on at home? Like this is crazy right here, man. The kid flinching all the time, or they're terrified, petrified of their parents, or
mhm. Don't want to go
like you
home.
see these things. You don't want to
Yeah,
go home.
they don't
Exactly.
want to
They
go
find
home. They want to
any
hang
reason to
out.
stay. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I went through it all. Did not want to go home. The whole 9 yards. I went through it all. Flinching. I was well into
Yep.
my 30s before somebody could raise their hand or arm around me or whatever, and I didn't
Exactly.
immediately. It takes a
Yeah.
while to get over, and it takes a toll on people's lives because they're so busy looking over their shoulder at their
Correct.
past, they can't concentrate on their future, and that's a really sad commentary.